Hi everyone and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Today we are going to be making a peasant dress. It is super simple, just using elastic and using an old skirt. Let's get started. So this is a skirt that I've had for probably 10 years. It has this kind of stretchy lace over it, this kind of sheer fabric that has no stretch to it, and then this knit underneath, which is just super soft, super stretchy, and I absolutely love. So I kind of played around with these three materials for a while. Now this skirt is beautiful, but it just doesn't fit me right after having 3 kids, so it is time to do something different with it. So I'm gonna use a pattern that I found online. I'll put a link in the description box for it. So of course you're just gonna follow everything on the pattern and just kind of line it up. So I'm just seeing that the length of my skirt is perfect. I'm doing a 4 to 5-year-old dress here. And the sleeve pattern is also available as well. Super easy. That's all you're doing is cutting front to back and 2 sleeves. Nothing could be easier. So after a bit of debate, I decided just to use the knit underneath. I think my niece will find this a lot more comfortable to wear, and it can be more of her everyday dress. So like the pattern said, 1 front, 1 back, and 2 sleeves. I also cheated and I kept the hem from the skirt, so I do not have to hem this dress, and I can have this little perfection at the bottom. Now, of course, to start, it's pretty simple. You're just going to be lining up the curve of the sleeve to the curve of the pattern, and you want to make sure that your right sides of the fabrics are together. So when the sleeve gets folded over, the hem is in the correct place. I also was able to cheat and use the hem on the sleeves as well from the skirt. And you'll do it to the same side as well. On this pattern, the seam allowance is about 3/8 of an inch, so I just went ahead and followed that. Also, this is a knit fabric, so I did do a straight stitch first because I like the way it looks, but sometimes straight stitches don't pull as well. So I went ahead and did a straight stitch, and then I did a zigzag or kind of like an overlock stitch right next to it, so that if any stitches did break in the future, that it would still hold together. Okay, so here I have everything basically attached. You can see the 2 sleeves in the middle and the bodice pieces, the front and back on the left and right. So if you see it all together before I sew down the sides, I'm just going to kind of show you what it looks like inside out. So if I just fold it in half and grab the bottom, I can kind of shake it a little bit better so you can see it. Alright, so here you can see how the sides will line up and the sleeves do as well. You can kind of see how the neckline is. It's just kind of this straight line all the way across, and we'll be doing an elastic through that. So when you are sewing, you'll just sew the underarm of the sleeve all the way down and connect it. I was so afraid to do sleeves when I first started sewing, but I now find it actually really easy, and I wish I had done it before. Alright, now I've sewn down the sides. As you can see, I just did the straight stitch at first because I wanted to make sure everything looked right, but of course later I can go back and I can fix it, or I can serge it. I can do lots of different things, but at least I can get the basics done to make sure I've done it right. Now that I'm flipping the dress the correct side out, we can get a better look at it. I've just ruffled in the neck color so we can kind of get an idea of how it's going to look. So I'm feeling a lot more confident. Now all it's going to be is creating that hem at the top, where we're going to be folding it over. So I'm going to pull it out nice and straight, and I'll take it over to the ironing board. But as we're making any type of band for elastic to go through, or casing for elastic to go through, you're just going to want to fold over the raw edges and then fold over again, creating that opening casing for you then to string the elastic through. I am just using 1/4 inch elastic. I wouldn't go more than 1/2 inch, since this is just on a little kid and it's around their neck. you're not really going to want a whole lot of elastic. You just want it to cinch in. So I have a cord elastic, so that is what I'm using. For the elastic, you only want it to be half the length of the opening that you have here. So if you have the dress in half here, you can just measure it. So I have it right about 16 inches. So I'm going to cut it at about 17 so that I can give myself about half an inch or so of overlap. Well, I'm going to show you some of the mistakes that I made. I was pulling the knit as I was sewing through because it was getting caught in a couple of sections. And of course, it did not sew in a straight line. So not super happy about that. However, since this is just going to be for an elastic casing, you are not going to notice. So I'm not going to sweat it too much. Well, the elastic is now through and I'm super happy with the way it looks. It's super cute, absolutely soft. Now that I've done the basic for the peasant dress, I have decided I'm going to do a little bit of shirring on the sleeves because I just think it'll make it look a little bit cuter. So shirring is a little bit different. It's where you're using elastic thread on the bottom of the sewing machine in the bobbin. So if you don't know how to do this, you can ask for a separate video or just kind of look it up. It's a lot easier than you think it would be. And so I just added 2 rows of shirring onto both sides and now it is done. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. In the description box, I will have the links that I used to make this, as well as some measurements and some suggestions of things that I learned during this. Thanks again for watching, everyone.